This is the Bad Movie Review. I'm your host, Vishen.
And I'm your host, John.
This is the podcast where we watch bad movies, poorly rated movies, and we determine if they're really that bad. The movie we're going to talk about is the 13th Warrior.
What is that?
So, okay. What is your history with this movie?
I think I can't wait to tell you about the history of this movie.
No, what is your history with the movie?
Yeah, I'm saying, like, my history, how I came across this movie. Because when this movie came out in 1999, wow. So I was about to graduate high school. I think 99 was, like, my graduation year.
Same.
And at that point, you know, like, I was one of those kids, like a nerdy kid. I'm going to go back. I'll get all therapeutic over here, like, therapist. But, like, we used to watch movies all the time. Like, me and my friends would get together. We'd rent movies. Mm-hmm. And when this movie was coming out, it looked amazing. Like, I was like, Eaters of the Dead. That looks crazy. And, like, you know, it was like a Michael Crichton thing. It's a book, obviously. If people don't know who the 13th Warrior is, just look it up. 13th Warrior.
Do you know the name of the book?
Yeah, Eaters of the Dead. It's the name of the book.
You really do know this.
And Michael Crichton was one of those guys that, like, he's beloved by, like, everybody. Like, the guy can't make a bad movie. I mean, well, his movies... It's funny how, like,
You mean his books are
his
really...
books, but some authors' books, like, they always suck, right? Like Stephen King. Like out of, like, 10 of his movies 10 of his books that were converted into movies, like, one of them was okay. But Michael Crichton, for some reason, like, they were always hits. All right, so what was yours?
I have no history.
So you never even saw it, like, back when it came out?
I heard of it. I mean, I remember, like, the movie when it came out, but I didn't see it. I thought this looked stupid.
Really?
But...
Were you not into, like, those types of, like, those, like, warrior movies back then?
I think what happened was... Wait, this is August 1999, so I was out of high school, right? That was right when I started...
and this is, like, after The Matrix, so, like...
This is right when I started watching movies a lot, hardcore.
Why did you start watching... I used to be a movie fanatic, but, like, maybe that was just a distraction, in my opinion. Were you just, like, more into school? You were just like, school.
No, I got a job at Hollywood Video and then had access to free movies whenever I wanted. 13th Warrior is a 1999 film. It says August 27th, 1999. The genre is action, adventure, history. History is a genre? And what? Hour and 42 minutes R rating. Hour and 42 minutes, which felt like 3 hours, by the way.
It felt really long, dude. I had to break it in half, too. I couldn't watch the whole thing.
I had to stop and get Chinese food. So, Jesus Christ.
I can't believe you actually sat through the whole thing.
There were some times when I was on my phone, I'm not going to lie. Directed by John McTiernan of Die Hard, Predator, Die Hard with a Vengeance, Hunt for Red October fame. Michael Crichton uncredited. I didn't know he was a director. Apparently he is.
Yeah, so in the behind the scenes, Crichton was basically, like, literally directing the whole movie.
Really?
So, like, they would always fight with each other, and McTiernan would direct a scene, and then Crichton would
be like, no, do
redirect.
It like this.
Without saying, he would redirect the entire scene in another studio, and they would...
What?
They would go back and do it. It's hilarious, dude. They were going back and forth.
Okay, well, like, behind McTiernan's back?
Yeah, well, not, I mean, I think most of it was that. Like, they would just be like, I don't like this scene, I'm going to redo it. And...
Alright, so it was written by Michael Crichton, the novel... William Wisher Jr. screenplay as William Wisher. I don't know what that means.
That's a cool name.
So, the movie. So wait, don't.
All right, so your history though. Your history was what? You just didn't even know.
Wait. We're not there yet. Hang on.
Oh, you wanted to go over the synopsis first? Okay, that's right.
Wait, what is this? Here, okay. Here's another storyline. Sheikh Ahmed Ibn Fadlan leads a group of savants from Baghdad, according to the Caliph's request to meet the demand of the Bulgarian's king Almash Yaltwar, who asked to learn about the Islamic religion to find explanation for the most important question. How can this religion, which comes from the heart of the desert, create the biggest empire in the world? What the hell? That's not right at all. Okay, so... The movie, the budget was $85 million. Don't look.
God.
How much do you think it made opening weekend? Take a guess.
Well, I already saw the number, but I remember when it first came out, though, like, everybody just said that it was just a disaster. Like, it was literally, like, the biggest, like, one of the biggest flops ever. Like,
how much?
What do you mean, how much do I think it
lost?
Yeah,
so it cost $80 million. How much do you think it made?
Oh, it made around like 10 million or something.
Okay. It made $10 million U.S. opening weekend, gross $32 million.
That's worldwide. That's crazy.
And that was
85
wait.
million.
That was what, 4 months, 3 months? August to November is 3 months.
I think DVD sales kind of helped it though. That's what I remember them saying that DVDs kind of.
Well, okay, so let's go to the cast. Okay.
The cast.
All right. Antonio Banderas. How did you think he did? As Ahmed Ibn Fadlan.
Well, he's the only big name guy in this movie. So,
Okay. What do you mean? What about Diane Venora?
man, this movie's such a. This is the thing, dude. What's so cool about McTiernan is that he's a man's man type of movie maker.
What the hell does that mean?
Like, well, when you know, the reason why I rented this movie because it felt like one of those like man's man movies, like bunch of guys they're getting together, they're gonna go fight
Being
some
tough.
evil. Let's go fight some evil. Let's go vindicate. Let's go liberate the nation.
Oh.
You know, I'm just saying, like it's one of those movies like you watch this movie because you know it's gonna be dudes. Like you don't really care about the chicks in the movie unless like
Right.
they're just like like looking hot. Or
Well,
whatever.
okay. How about Omar Sharif? That's a big name.
Yeah, it's funny too. They mentioned him in that behind the scenes. Like people love that guy.
Yeah.
I totally forgot that he was in what's that movie? Lawrence of Arabia. Lawrence of Arabia.
All right. So let's get right into it. All right. What did you think of this movie?
You know, it's funny, man. Like this movie, it could have been so good. It could have been so amazing, and it just failed in every way. And like you can see, this is the perfect movie where you can see two heads butting with each other. You can see like, just it just shows when there's too many cooks in the kitchen. This is what you get when you watch the 13th Warrior.
So what do you mean? Explain.
As in like,
'Cause I didn't see that.
really?
I didn't. Yeah. Well, okay. Well, let me tell you my general opinion.
All right,
right?
yeah. What was yours then?
So first of all, this is a hard movie to watch. I had a really hard time understanding what was going on. This plot synopsis that we just read: a man having fallen in love with the wrong woman is sent by the Sultan on a
the version you
diplomatic
saw
mission.
at the beginning of the movie, doesn't he explain it? He's like, I was sent to this.
You mean when he's on the ship?
No, at the beginning of the movie.
The first scene, he's on the ship.
Right, but then like it goes back into the backstory.
Oh, what? There was a woman. He was in love.
No, it's like the backstory. Remember, like so he's on the ship, right? It's like shh.
Right, and then
And he's like, but then
right,
was
there's a flashback.
and then he explains, the flashback.
Right, but you mean in the flashback? There's no
In the
woman
flashback,
love.
there's a
What
woman.
was he talking about?
They just showed like a chick with a veil over her face, and then like he looked at her.
Oh,
and
he
then
looked at her for 2 seconds,
Yeah, it was like
and
2
he's in love
seconds.
with her.
And then the bad guy was, or her husband saw it, and he's like,
I'm
gonna get rid of you.
you.
he's like, I'm jealous.
That's what was happening.
That was it.
See, this is what I'm trying to say. I could not understand what was
Well, that's the
happening
thing.
in this movie.
But dude, they didn't put that in the original that I saw.
Why?
Back in
There's
99.
no mention of religion in that scene. Why would they take that out?
Dude, because he explains where he's from, like Arabia. So I guess Arabia was like a bad thing. So
Well,
dude,
then without that scene, there's no context for the movie.
Dude, my scene was basically he's on the ship,
Right.
and then he lands on that thing, and like he's basically
You mean a flashback?
No, on the ship there's no flashback. Oh,
So they cut the whole flashback out?
they cut the whole flashback out, and they basically show that he was like he says he's an ambassador, so he's at least with Omar and everything. They land,
Right.
and that's what you get. But dude, there was no explanation. Like you had no idea this guy was Muslim. You had no idea that he was like Islam or
Well,
whatever.
hold on a second. Let me ask you this: did you actually buy Antonio Banderas as a Muslim guy?
Well, dude, it's funny. The second time I saw it, I was like, dude, he's the perfect character to play. He looks Muslim. He looked like the way they.
You think so?
He looks all like effeminate. He looks like really like with his hair, with his dude. The way he talked, like he looked like.
So Muslims look effeminate.
Well, in this movie, they made him look really.
This
like,
episode's to be real offensive, man.
I know, dude. But they made him look really. What's the word? Like.
Soft?
Yeah, they made him look really soft. Like they made Muslims look really soft in this movie. Like, oh, he's a Muslim. You know, like the Arab, Arabian Nights, basically Arabian Nights,
I don't know what that means.
Aladdin. Like that's all Americans had connected to with this stuff. Aladdin and Arabian Nights. Like, and he looks like the guy. He looks like an Arab guy. But people were pissed off, by the way. Like they were like, oh, he's not even Arab.
I'm not surprised.
Like he's not even Arab. Why is he in this movie?
Well, okay, so let me say this, all right? That scene on the ship, the visual effects
looked
horrible. It looked like
Dude,
not even PlayStation 1.
Because I remember in '99, I was like, this looks amazing.
You're serious? Shut up.
Dude, for real, I was just. But that's the
It
thing.
looked horrible.
There was no HD TV, so like we couldn't
So
even
you
tell.
couldn't see how bad it looked?
You couldn't see how bad it
Well,
looked.
I wasn't going to say something bad. It looked terrible.
It looked terrible.
Yes,
Dude. It looked
okay.
really bad.
So that, and then I'm going to be honest. There were times in the movie when I picked up my phone and I was looking on the internet.
I did the same thing. I was checking my email.
I ordered Chinese food.
I did the
because
same
I was
thing.
so
The
bored.
dialogue was not good at all, dude.
It was like just oh my god, like I didn't care about these characters.
dude, and that's the thing. You just don't care about these
Oh
guys.
god, and his whole like sudden turn from being an ambassador to a warrior was so Like,
it just didn't make sense at all.
There was no
This chick with the bones, threw the bones on the floor. It's like, you're gonna follow the chick that threw bones on the floor.
What? I don't even remember that now.
Well, all right. So remember they go to the thing, and Omar Sharif is talking, and he's the only one that understands the language.
Yeah.
And Antonio Banderas. I thought that was actually really cool the way they did that though. Like the whole language thing, like the way they didn't understand the language.
And then he learns it. And suddenly they're all speaking English.
Dude, because I always thought about it from the actor's perspective. I'm like, how do you get actors just like talking gibberish? Like, all right, action, love to and it's just like, what are they saying? I wonder what they were actually speaking, because it was probably half Norseman or whatever they. Because those guys,
well, some of it was Greek.
All those actors were actually from Norway or some weird area, so they actually spoke that language. So I'm just wondering if it was gibberish or if it was.
Wait, but what did you think about
the way that they edited that scene though? There's the fireplace scene.
Well, no, what I'm saying is, so they're speaking their other language, right? He's speaking English, and then to the audience, we're supposed to assume that, you know, what he's speaking is like Arabic or whatever the hell he would speak, right? Then when he learns their language, suddenly they're speaking English, right?
Right.
Okay, I'm gonna be honest. I thought that was actually a little clever.
That was clever. That was really cool.
Allow the audience to understand.
Because it was just like, instead of like have subtitles or have them,
right.
you know, just like all learn English all of a sudden, like they made it seem like what you're listening to is basically like their terminology, but it's in English. Or it was cool. It was cool the way they did that. That's probably the best takeaway this movie gets.
Yeah. Now,
like people should take that. And
then the sudden turn from ambassador to warrior was nuts. There was nothing. Yeah. 1 second he's like, "Oh, I'm afraid I'm not a warrior," and then all of a sudden, bam, he's like slicing people up.
So check this out, dude. In the 1999 version that I saw, that is probably hard to find now. You probably can't get it unless you have the DVD.
Probably worth a lot of money.
Like, I wonder if it is. Like, dude, so check it out, dude. Yeah. In that version, it makes it look like he doesn't even know how to fight. It makes it look like he joins them because that witch told him that he needed to be there. But in that part, it makes it look like they're showing him how to fight.
But he doesn't know how to fight. What are you talking about?
He didn't really know how to fight. Yeah, that's true.
But he's kind of a Mary Sue because when he's trying to.
He was like a playboy.
When he was trying to. No.
What I'm saying, he's like the playboy guy that doesn't, he doesn't want to get his hands dirty or whatever. He's like, oh, don't do that.
Well, yeah, but then all of a sudden, like, I'm saying he's a Mary Sue because in the scene where he's like learning how to swing the sword, he's terrible. And then literally 2 seconds later, he figures out, let me carve my sword.
Yeah, that's right. He goes
other way.
He's like, well,
and then suddenly he's like chopping up trees like it's nothing.
Well, that's the thing, because it made it seem like he was trying to use their swords for no reason. It's like, why would you try to use a heavy sword if you already know how to sword fight with your Arab sword?
Oh, is that what? So he knew how to sword fight? Right. He didn't know how to use their sword?
Yeah, but that's what I'm saying. Like, they didn't really explain any of that. They didn't really. And he's like, I'm gonna actually go to the blacksmith and get my sword made now. It's like, yeah, after you tried to swing their heavy ass sword for like a couple hours, like I don't understand why you would want to go back to your. Why don't you just use your regular sword in the first place? And then not have, because he had the small horse. Remember they're making fun of his horse. So like,
who suddenly can like jump over like
dude, that was hilarious
in a single bound.
That was hilarious. Where they're like, we're making fun of your horse, and now he's like, let me show you what they can do then. Yeah. Ha ha ha! And then people are just like, wow, we are amazed. I mean, dude, the dynamic between the other 13 guys or the other 12 guys was pretty cool. They actually did that pretty well.
I liked the scene with the other dude, the one-on-one duel. When he was toying with the dude,
yeah, that was huge. Yeah, that was the money fight scene.
Yeah, in the movie. That was great. I was
like totally when you see that back in '99, you're just like, whoa, that's and then
when he finished him off, and he was like, yeah, I was playing with him the whole time.
But isn't it funny though how like the guy that lost his life, and they were just messing with him. Remember they got the shovel and they threw the dirt on him, and he's like, hey, watch me throwing that dirt. And he's like, I'll throw that dirt wherever I want. And then that's why they started to fight, and then he kills the guy. I was like, what was that?
Oh, what was the whole point? Because he was like, you shovel like a woman or something.
Oh, wait, was it because they wanted to like get, because there was like a feud between the group, and they're like, yo, we have to get rid of one of their guys so we can have more control?
Maybe. I couldn't understand what was happening in this movie.
I forgot what they actually did that for.
Why didn't they have more women in this movie?
And they only had like 2 or 3 chicks in that movie, right?
Barely. There was that one girl who was like healing him,
and she would always look at him,
telling him that it sounds like a woman.
They would have these scenes where like, they would just look at each other. When he'd be walking somewhere, and she'd like look at him. She'd be like, and then like he'd leave. And it was almost like I guess they were trying to imply that he was like tapping that, but
I don't think so.
But they made it seem like
she thought he was like a wuss.
It was really ambiguous. But no, remember that scene where they fell asleep together, and then like when he gets up, goes to his guys, are like, one of the guys is like, so did she wear you out? Or something like that. It's
I
like
think
right
I went to
before
get
the fight.
Chinese food during that part.
You probably didn't listen, but it was. All right, so check it out. The reason
I do remember that.
The reason why people hated this movie though was because the scene, the way they it was terrible. The way they directed it was that you couldn't see anything. Like, you couldn't see the fighting. You couldn't even tell what was going on. True. It was too dark.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah,
everything. The guys in the horses were all running around and shit.
In that first fight scene with the bear cave guy, I couldn't see what the hell.
You couldn't see anything, and like to this day, you can't see anything. I double checked. I was like, you can't see what's going on. It was just like really shitty editing. It's terrible editing.
They say movies now have that shaky cam and you can't see the action, but no. Back in '99, you couldn't see what.
I just saw the new Bourne movie and it was so.
I haven't seen it.
The shakiness was bad. It was like because I like the first three. The first three were genius.
Well, this one wasn't. Wait, the second and third one were shaky as hell.
Right, but it worked. Like it was you were into the movie. But this one.
So this one had no shakiness, and yet you still couldn't see anything.
13th Warrior? No, 13th Warrior had bad shakiness. It was like
the wrong shakiness. I didn't see any shakiness.
No, it was just like the way it moved and stuff. The way they were trying to fight. You could just tell they didn't know what they were doing. But all right, so check it out. The reason why all that happened was because they were trying to avoid the R rating. So now that I saw the behind the scenes, that's why it was all just wrong. And Crichton was so bent on like trying to make this like a Steven Spielberg movie that he didn't let McTiernan do what McTiernan should have done and what he does right. And McTiernan makes dark movies.
When you say make it like a Spielberg movie, you mean what? Make it family friendly?
Yeah, make it like how as if Steven Spielberg were directing. And I think Crichton was too bent on like trying to make it more like hospital, like happier or something. Because McTiernan actually said he's like, I would have made this a darker movie. It would have been strictly R. It would have been totally different.
Why did it get an R rating then? Just because they added some blood to what was already there?
Well, that's the thing. McTiernan was basically making a PG-13 movie the whole time, and then at the end they switched it. And the reason why they changed it to 13th Warrior was because they didn't want to make it seem like it was a dark movie. Because they should have called it Eaters of the Dead. That was the original movie. That was the original name they wanted to call it. They were going to call it the same name as the book, but then like they were like, oh, people aren't going to get it. It's just weird how Hollywood just messes things up.
Hold on. What does that even mean, Eaters of the Dead? Was that referring to the bear cannibal, whatever
right, the tribe people. Right.
They didn't eat the dead. What does that mean?
They did eat the dead.
What?
They would eat them.
Wait, is that why the bones were there?
Right.
Because they ate them?
They would eat them, yeah.
Dude, they ate a lot of people.
That's what I'm saying. But they were like a big they were a big tribe, though.
It was a fucking army.
They got that right, though. They got
it wasn't a tribe, it was an army.
You saw the groups of them. It was a big group.
Well, from what I could see, because it was so hard to see anything in this movie.
Right, and the last fight scene was basically the only daytime scene, and that was like a 3-minute scene. It was
by that point, I was like,
it didn't even matter. It didn't even matter.
Well,
this movie could have been so good, man, and it just failed in every single way. Banderas, I mean, he just looked like he was just there, like he just showed up out of nowhere. He looked like he did look like he was like an outsider though. Like he just showed up.
Yeah, but because he looked like he's like, what am I doing in this movie?
Yeah, it's like, what am I doing here?
Yeah, he's like, what? Huh? Like the whole time. I don't think he was even acting. I think he was just like, where is everybody?
And like all right, so that main guy that dies. We haven't gone over the characters, but whatever.
There's who are we gonna go over? There's Antonio Banderas, and that's it.
And the guy with the blonde hair.
Yeah, the friend who's cool. Wait, that's this
Vladimir
Dennis Storhoy.
There you go, Dennis.
He's got that O with the slash in it. That's pretty cool.
Yeah, so he was.
See, he's got the slash O.
So he did a lot of interview in the behind the scenes. He talked about the movie a lot. He talked about the movie a lot, and he was saying that basically they cut out a lot of things and like that these guys like there was a better dynamic between the 13 of them, and he was saying that like if they had done it a certain way.
Look at him. He's a good looking guy, right? Dashing.
It looks totally different.
Yeah, he looks cool
in the behind the scenes.
Sorry, you were saying.
I'm gonna say, dude, that I feel bad that I watched the behind the scenes. I feel like it's like a cheat sheet or whatever of what was going on in the movie and why it was so terrible.
Wait a minute, what?
What was that? What was he in? Is that the movie?
This is, yeah.
I mean, dude, like stylistically, the set design was awesome.
Yeah.
They had everything right as far as like the way those monsters looked, or those people looked. Dude, that must have taken a lot to freaking put together. And like the setting looked cool. Mm-hmm. They shot it like
visually it was very interesting.
Visually, it looked like it had some potential.
Yes.
And then it just.
Yeah, it was boring.
It was really boring, man. It had no entertaining value. It had no entertainment value.
I think if his character had an actual arc, Antonio Banderas' character, I mean, right? And if we like got to know him,
yeah, there was no
connect to him. You're like, who is this guy? And he didn't. He acted like, I don't know what I'm doing here. So how am I supposed to connect to him? I don't know who he is. I don't care about him.
I thought the first 10 minutes were watchable, but then like once that witch is like, we need 13 people, and then like she starts naming them all,
and when they said something about 13 months, I was like, what?
It didn't make sense.
It's not 13 months.
It didn't make sense at all.
Prophecy, whatever. It was stupid. I wasn't inspired. I wasn't intrigued. I was like, what?
And that chick, Diane, whatever, Venora, like she was like in like 2 seconds of the movie. Maybe she was the bad chick.
Was she the one from the
queen?
beginning?
She was the queen, probably.
With the veil?
I don't know.
So you can't wait. Let me cover half her face and see.
She's probably. I think she was the queen.
Does that look like
the evil queen or whatever?
Evil queen? What are you talking about? There's no evil queen.
At the end of the movie.
See, I don't even know.
Dude, how do you think the blonde guy dies? Because he gets poisoned by her. She like stabs him with a.
The blonde guy died?
Yeah, remember he's like sitting there. He puts the sword down. And he lays there and he just like dies.
Oh.
He got poisoned. That's how he died.
Man, wow. Rotten Tomatoes has it at 33%, right? So, 30. Is it that bad?
It is that boring, but as far as that bad, it's not that bad. Like they
what's the difference?
They got a lot of things right, but it was a boring. Like, this is the thing, dude. I think in 2016, man, like our attention spans are just different. Like we don't know how to sit through a whole movie.
Dude,
dude, can you sit through the whole Godfather movie? Could you sit through the whole Godfather movie?
I
from
watched,
start to finish. I would have to pause it like 10 times.
I couldn't watch it in one sitting because something happened, but if not for that, I could have. And I only watched it like a year or two ago.
Yeah, I find myself watching really good movies in like halves. Like,
that's because your attention span is like
it's like gone.
Yeah, that's
like
the movie's fault.
Gone.
All right.
It takes a certain movie for me to like be sucked into it. Like I'm trying to think of a movie that I got sucked into, and I was just like, I need to watch everything. Oh, the Tom Cruise movie.
Edge of Tomorrow.
Yeah, dude. From the minute I was like on the edge of my seat to like the very end. It was amazing.
So
bless you.
Wasn't that uncomfortable sitting on the edge the whole time?
Is that funny? Pun intended.
So
I was on the edge of my seat, the edge of tomorrow.
I didn't even catch that.
That was literally on the edge.
Yeah, that was good. So okay. Yeah, it's that bad as far as I'm concerned.
So you thought it was terrible?
Yeah.
Like it's in like everything. Like
no redeeming qualities at all. Worst movie ever. Like the Cell, Gigli level of.
Dude,
no,
I thought the Cell was so terrible. That movie was so bad.
There was stuff that
I never saw Gigli. How could you sit through that?
I didn't see it. I don't know.
I was about to say.
Okay, there were things that were entertaining. The little bits and pieces. It wasn't the worst movie in the world, but yeah, it is that bad. So.
But you know what's funny is this movie, like it showed up on theaters and it disappeared. Like so, I would have gone to go see this in theaters, but like it just literally disappeared. Like you couldn't even go find it. Like it went straight to video. Yeah, they pulled it. They pulled it from the theaters like in seconds.
It was that bad.
And then not only did they pull it, but like it took a while for it to get on video. Which was weird. So like there was like a big like 6-month break.
I'm sure they weren't in any big rush to get it out there. They're probably like, whatever, we'll get to it.
I think they wrote it off. They're just like, this movie's a failure.
Well, this is August 99, right? You know what came out right at that time, right?
The Matrix.
Not that, dude. Another movie. A really big movie.
Was it good? August of 99? Give me like another more hint. Give me like a...
It wasn't in August. Actually, I think it was August.
It
was a really big franchise. It was a really highly anticipated, hyped up movie.
Was it like an adult movie or was it like a kids movie?
Sorry. No, it was an adult movie. But kids like it.
Oh, God. I'm trying to think.
It had a kid in it. Which pissed off a lot of people.
Oh, RoboCop?
No, what?
RoboCop 2. Remember this little kid?
99? What the hell are you talking about? A huge franchise. One of the biggest franchises and movies in the world.
Jesus.
They made like a theme park.
Star Wars or something?
There you go. Episode 1, dude.
That came out in 99.
That came out in 99? Here, look.
That came out when The Matrix came out?
Matrix came out in the spring of 99.
Yeah, it was like March.
Here, look. Yeah. Hold on. Matrix was...
I'll never forget that.
Matrix, where is it? Yeah, March 31st. Right. Episode 1, I think it was... Because I remember this... I saw it with my
I took a girl
sister.
That movie. I went with my friend...
Why would you do that?
Evanis. And I had a blast.
Oh, May? That's not right.
Oh, yeah, it's true. Yeah, The Phantom Menace came out in May.
Came out before the 13th Warrior?
When did The 13th Warrior come out? August?
Yeah.
No, 13th Warrior came out after, yeah. That's what I'm saying. 13th Warrior was just like a late summer movie. Nobody knew about it.
An afterthought?
Yeah.
So that's it for episode 1. Not that episode 1. Episode 1 of the show. 13th Warrior.